Good day, dental professionals. Welcome to the Dental Flow podcast. We are dentistry's go-to resource for insights into the business side of dentistry. Your host, Benjamin Suggs, will be helping you navigate through the currents of the ever-changing dental waters. This podcast is packed with innovative practice growth strategies, actionable insights, and expert advice, all tailored to help you elevate your dental practice to the next level. If you're ready to dive in, so are we. Let's get into the flow.
Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about something that I think is an interesting topic that I get a lot of questions about from our own dental clients. And that topic is, should dental practices be leveraging online booking systems? Now, let me just start by clarifying what we mean when we say online booking systems. So online booking system means essentially that it's one of these third-party platforms where someone, patient or potential patient, can actually book a appointment right onto your calendar, right onto your schedule. So we're not talking about someone just filling out a form and sending an email to the practice or texting you via a text widget or chat. We're talking about the ability that someone has to actually schedule an appointment on your schedule without actually having to speak to your dental practice. So I want to talk about some of our experience working with these platforms. Let me just begin though by saying that we do not sell the service at all. I want to be clear about that. So you're getting a completely unbiased opinion on the effectiveness of these online booking solutions, because it's not something we sell, but there are a number of third-party platforms that a lot of our clients use today. So I wanted to start with that. Secondly, I can tell you before I get into basically a pros and cons list that we did a data analysis on this a few years ago. So we saw the surge in clients coming to us in about 2020, them coming to us and saying, hey, I've just signed up for this online booking platform. Can you add it to our website? So what we did was we kind of tracked it over 12 months. So we took a handful of our clients that we had added that widget to their website, and we looked at their performance after that, adding that online booking function and before it. And we did see a lift. So even though their marketing budgets were very similar in those two time periods, we did see about a 20 to 25% lift in the number of new patients booking with that practice. So I'm going to start with that. That's a data point I want to throw out there right away, so that when we have looked at it, we did see that it does increase your chances at converting new patients into the office by offering this online widget. So with that, let's go through kind of a pros and cons list. And this is what we have learned working with these third-party platforms. Also what we've heard in terms of feedback from our own clients who have implemented them. So I want to share those. But since we started with the pro, which is the fact that our data shows that these things give you a lift in your new patient numbers, let's stay with our pros and start there. So the first big pro, I think, for adding an online booking platform to your website is that we do believe in the simple concept that if you want someone to take an action, and in this case, we want a patient to book an appointment with your dental practice, the easier you make it for them to do that, the more likely that they are going to take that action that we want them to take. So that's the first big pro, I think, is that it just makes life easier for your patients, meaning that the more options we give them without overwhelming them with options, of course. But if you're saying hey, you can either call our practice, or you can fill out a form, or you can use this online booking and book your appointment right now in this moment, you're just making it easier for people to take action, and the action that you want them to take. So that's the first big pro for it, I believe. The second one was I kind of just mentioned it, but being in the moment. So a lot of times, when we have clients that get forms filled out on their website, one of the things they'll tell us is they have a hard time tracking down those people. Like someone could fill out a form or a form on Facebook or a form on your website, and even if you call them 10 minutes later, they don't answer the phone, or 10 minutes later they've already forgotten that they took some action on social media or whatever it was. So there is a value in that when someone is in that moment of wanting to schedule an appointment, that they can complete the action right away. Now, Obviously, if they just pick up the phone and call you, they could do the same thing. But that segues nicely into our next point, which is there's a younger generation, I would say millennials and below, and younger, let's say, that honestly do not like using the telephone at all. They are very, very partial to texting and to doing things online versus actually having to pick up the phone and have a physical conversation with somebody. So as those younger generations of people move into the profitable stages of dentistry, as they get a little, and when I say profitable, I mean that they need more dentistry and they can afford to pay for more dentistry, there's going to be an increased value on offering these online booking options for them, because that just probably is their preference. They just don't want to talk on the phone. You see it when if you watch documentaries about millennials and dating and stuff like that, they'll talk about the fact that, people who call each other on the phone are crazy. The best way to communicate with each other and somebody is just via text or some other online medium. So that's another big point I think is important to keep in mind. Another big one is the cost advantages. So I would say there's less expense to it and there's less missed opportunities if you have an online booking widget on your website. And what I mean by that is, we see a lot when we've done call tracking for dental practices in the past. We would see a good number of missed calls happening and we would question it. Like, why is it that during your business hours, people are not answering the phone in your practice? And one of the things we found was the fact that people were just already on the phone. I mean, if you have one person answering your phones at the front desk, there's a good likelihood that if they were talking to one patient who just called in to inquire about a new patient appointment, they're not going to be able to answer the next call that comes in while they're on the phone with that first person. Then you add in all the other stuff they have to do, which is talk to insurance companies about reimbursement numbers and, confirm appointments if they're still doing that, if it's not automated. So there's definitely an opportunity for more to pick up more of these folks if you have another way for them to appoint other than calling and there's an opportunity for less missed opportunities in the dental practice to convert more people as new patients. So that's a big one. The other biggest one, this is the last pro I have on the list, is that it works for you 24/7. So if you have this online scheduling widget on your website and I come to your website at 10 or 11 o'clock at night, I can book an appointment the next day or however you have it set up right away. So instead of having to say, fill out a form that you guys get the next day and you try to call me back, I can schedule that appointment in that moment where I'm looking for a dentist. And I will tell you that when we run ads for our clients, we almost always run them in the evenings because we know that for busy people, which most people are, let's be honest, very busy, they have kids, they have jobs, they have stuff that occupies their time all during that day, extracurricular activities, all the stuff they have to do for their children. So really for them, when they need to find a dentist to go to, that moment in the evening when they finally have a few minutes to themselves is a good chance for them to sit down, get on a phone, get on a laptop, and start looking for dental options. So that's why we run ads in the evening, because we know that people are looking for dentists in the evening. So if I see one dentist that the only option is for me to call them or fill out a form, but then I go to the next dentist on the line in Google and they have an option for online scheduling, I may choose that dentist because I say, well, I can just get this done right now, get this thing on the calendar, boom, good to go. So that's another big pro, I think, to having an online scheduler on your website. So, but now let's talk about a few of the cons. And these cons really come to us directly from feedback from our clients who have used them and did not like them. So I do want to share that side of it. One big one is, you probably were going to have a higher no-show rate. And I know that some of those online platforms that do this will contest this and claim that they have a higher show rate than people who book on the phone. But the simple fact is, if you have a good front desk person who is good at selling and bringing people into the practice via the phone, they are going to have a lower no-show rate than this anonymous online interaction that happens when someone books an appointment through one of these third-party platforms. So right away, there's more human connection. What I mean by that is if I just had a lovely conversation with Alice at your front desk for 10 minutes about booking an appointment, I'm going to feel worse about canceling or no showing on that appointment if I don't want to disappoint Alice. Another way to look at it is that when your front desk speaks to people on the phone, they will start to get a very good feel for what the likelihood is of somebody canceling or no showing on an appointment. They can hear it in someone's voice if the person's like, oh, yeah, let's just put it down for Wednesday at 3. I think I can do that. I'll have to check. I'm pretty sure I can do it. That type of thing. They hear that and they know that that person has a higher likelihood of no showing so that they can act on that information, which whether it be increased follow-up, double booking the time, whatever it is, they can take an action to reduce the potential negative impact of a no-show. When someone books online, you don't really have that capacity. So there is going to be a higher likelihood of no-shows from people booking through this kind of anonymous online platform. Another big one, and I've had several doctors tell me this, is they did not like losing control of the schedule. Now, one good thing I'll say about these platforms is they allow you, it's not like you just have a whole empty schedule up there for people to book. They allow you to plug into your dental software. So the system can tell when there are open times and when there are not. But the other thing you can do is actually set blocked times where, for this type of appointment, I only want to see them in the afternoon. For this type of appointment, I only want to see them in the morning, that type of thing. So you do have a level of control, but even with that, I had clients tell me they just didn't like that law, that they didn't have full control over the schedule. And usually what that comes down to is they have their own quirks in thoughts and systems about how they want their schedule to be booked. Their front desk person knows all of that information. So they would rather have people go through that front desk person via this instead of this online platform. So that's another big one that we heard as a con. And then the third one I have here really ties into the first two, but it's just much less human touch. Like I said, like we always coach our clients that, this whole thing is a process of developing a relationship with somebody. So if you looked at your dental practice, and we've said this all along, is you're not just bringing in patients, but you're bringing in patients whom you're going to have a relationship with. And I don't mean that sounds inappropriate. That's not the way I mean it. But what I do mean is, these are people that you don't want just coming in for one appointment. You want them coming in for many appointments over the years. So that first phone call, we always say, is the first building block of establishing that relationship. Well, not the first. The first is actually when they see your advertisement or your website. That's where we're starting to build that trust and that relationship. But the phone call is a huge part of it. So if they have a nice conversation with someone at your front desk, they're more likely to build a nice, strong base of a relationship with your dental practice over time. I truly do believe in that. I think it starts at the beginning. It flows all the way through. I'm sure a lot of people out there will hear that and be like, that's not the case. Even if they book through online, we'll start building that relationship when they show up for their appointment, which I'm sure is true as well. But in my experience has always been that the more human touch that you can put into a relationship, the stronger that relationship is going to be over time in terms of getting someone to come back to your practice again and again, and also refer other people into your practice as well, which is, as we know, what a great source of new patients is if you have your own patients already referring friends and family and people like that. So those were my pros and cons. I would actually say, as my own unbiased opinion, I would lean more towards adding this to your website. There's services out there that only cost, a couple $100 a month. I would look for services that, and I'm not going to endorse any particular one, but look for sources that really do give you a level of control over, not just any appointment, but if it's an implant consultation, you may only want those to happen at specific times versus an emergency appointment or, a cleaning, an x-ray, that type of thing. So look for ones that give you a high level of control of your own schedule, and then test them out, test it for a few months and see how it works. And if you like it, you keep it. If you see a numbers increase, you keep it. But if you're one of these doctors that says, I don't like it, I don't like not having control of the schedule, then you drop the service, and at least you gave it a try to see if it could have a positive impact in your practice. So that would be my opinion. Give it a try, see if it works for you. I do believe it has a lot of value to add an online booking widget or service to your website. So I hope that was helpful. We're going to continue to give more information in this podcast, and have a great day.
Thank you for joining us for this Dental Flow podcast episode. If you enjoyed today's discussion and wish to stay updated on future episodes, please like, subscribe, and share the podcast with colleagues and friends. For more insights and discussions on dental marketing, we encourage you to continue riding the Dental Flow wave and tune into the next episode. Keep on smiling, learning, and flowing with the Dental Flow podcast.